Broadcasting from Slough. Streaming around the world.
This is Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio. Oh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
The podcast.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Hello, welcome to episode 106 of the Best Bits of Atom Radio's Drive Time podcast. That means that, theoretically, there's been at least 106 Best Bits. And that, I think, is arguable. Anyway, I don't mind because I've got the week off next week. Not through choice, just that I can't get access to the studio. Having work done, decorating work done. So, I will be I'll be sat with my feet up next week. So therefore, before I do that, on the way this week, words that are going out of fashion, the problem with old drivers, inappropriate kisses, don't get carried away, being rude, problems with posh food, Halloween I have solved for this year because it will be difficult, won't it? And also the problem with annoying noises, for anyone that finds noises very, very annoying. All that and more is on the way in the Best Bits of Drive Time podcast, episode 106. Enjoy it.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
It is the big drive home, online around the world, playing the music you want to hear, doing the brain teaser in an hour, doing Beat the Intro in 2 hours. And these are words that apparently millennials have never heard of and therefore could be gone within a decade. All right. Now, some of these are brilliant. Sozzled. I still use that to describe somebody who is drunk. Cad is a dishonest man. I must admit, I've never used that. Bonk, that is to have sex. Use that. I've not used it for a long time, but I have used that word before. A wally is a stupid person. What a wally! Betrothed is engaged. All right, that one is old-fashioned. Like, that's back from the 1700s, isn't it? I am betrothed. One is betrothed. Number 6, I think, is my favourite on the whole list. Nincompoop. That's a fool. Why would you let that word disappear? I mean, it's brilliant, isn't it? Like, if somebody does something really stupid, oh, you nincompoop. Why would you let that disappear? Boogie is to dance to pop music. And millennials don't know that. Trollop, that's a woman who has casual sex, and I'm sure that there's plenty of those. Bounder, do you know what? I want to kick off with a little rant about elderly drivers. Like, I know if you're elderly, and by this I mean like past retirement age, and still have your driving license. If you're elderly, you may very well have little to do all day long, and therefore you're in no rush. I get that, right? I get that. But then driving at like 15 miles an hour in a 30, driving at 20 miles an hour in a 40, you're not helping. It's not safe. It's just frustrating everyone else. It just doesn't help. You may have all day to drive slowly if you want to drive slowly, but think of the others that don't have all day to drive slowly. And if you find that you can't drive at 30 in a 30 or 40 in a 40, get off the road, hand in your license, claim your bus pass. Can some of those be not known?
Yeah! Mark Denholm. AtomRadio.co.uk.
You know how you have to buy and wear a face covering in the UK? Now, you can get the disposable ones, can't you? Like 4 for £1. You can get the fabric ones that you can wash and wear again. They're not that expensive at all. The Royal Collection Trust. Now, bear in mind, last week we did have the reports in there were huge black holes in the royal family's finances. The Royal Collection Trust has unveiled a collection of new face masks inspired by the partridge eye pattern on its Sevres chinaware. How much is one of these masks? Are you ready? Now, before I tell you how much it was, cuts to the Royal Collection Trust staff, pensions, and 200 compulsory redundancies within the Royal Collections Trust. How much are the masks? $9.95. This is for a single mask. The organisation unveiled the mask on its website, offering shoppers 3 different colours at $9.95 each.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Did say I was going to ask you a question. based on something that has happened to me. And I have received a WhatsApp from a male friend. And at the end of this, there is an X, a kiss, right? Do you do it? Do you put, I'm guessing this must be a mistake. Do you put kisses at the end of your messages? And would you to friends of the same sex? I guess it's slightly different for ladies than it is for men. But do you do it? And, would you do it to someone of the same sex? I'm guessing, this has to be a mistake. He's never, ever sent me a kiss before on a message. I reckon that he's probably messaging his missus at the same time as me and just got carried away. Kiss, send, done. Probably doesn't even realise he's done it. Should I tell him? That's another important question, isn't it? Should I tell him? Oi, what are you doing? What's this kiss for?
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
I was saying about this countdown to Christmas, and there is love for Christmas, it seems. There is love because people are saying, do you know what? We've had a real rubbish year. Why shouldn't we count down to Christmas? I shared something on Facebook the other day, which was basically just saying about headaches. And it's got a picture of a migraine and where it is, a picture of hypertension, etc., etc. Then the whole head is red with this headache. Christmas music in October. I stand by that. We don't need a countdown. We have advent calendars. They don't start in October, do they? They start in December on the 1st. So if you are counting down to Christmas, quit it, get an advent calendar, start on the 1st of December.
Mark Denholm.
I was going to make a joke about school reports saying we can do better, but there's no point in my case at all. The vamps and better. When I went to school, all of my school reports and my parents came home from parents' evening used to say, we'd love to be able to tell you about Mark, but sadly we just don't see enough of him to be able to tell you anything.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
I hope you're well, Eva. I hope you're well. Do you know, that reminds me, there was last week, I'm having work done on the house, as I told you. And the plumbers were in last week. And I was going to go outside my front door and have a smoke. I don't smoke inside the house. And as I was, the plumber was approaching the front door from a different angle that I was. And I thought, you know what, I'll be polite and I'll let him go first. But then I thought, well, hang on a minute, I'm already halfway through the door. So I went to say, after you, but I realised, well, I'm already halfway through the door and I'm in motion. I end up stepping out saying after. I thought, what do I follow that with? And the only thing I could think to follow that with was me. So I ended up saying, after me, which I think really is quite rude.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
2225 spoke about Instagram earlier. What I forgot to mention was my friend who genuinely thinks that she is famous because she has a few Instagram followers. I know exactly why she has those Instagram followers as well. But you see, that's another thing with Instagram. The apparent fame has gone to some people's heads.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
If you got into the Great British Bake Off, I have to say, it honestly does nothing for me. And I remember watching it when it started, Paul Hollywood and Mary Berry. And who was it? It was Sue Perkins and whoever the other one was. Anyway, I remember watching it then. And I'm someone that if I watch something like that, I just end up getting hungry. And I'm thinking, no, this is not for me. Like MasterChef as well. I tell you the thing with MasterChef, right? Like if you bake a cake, okay, it's lovely. You stick it on a plate and they come along. And if you don't like eating sounds, it's not for you. And they rate the cake, okay? But the thing with MasterChef is, I'm thinking, right, you spend all this time cooking something, then you put up the tiniest portion ever on the plate, and that's it. Like, you put this tiny portion up, you drizzle a bit of sauce on it. For me, though, dinner, or whatever, should be a full plate. I don't really care, like, whether you've drizzled sauce all over this tiny thing in the middle. Dinner should be a full plate. Come on, for definite.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
Thank God it's not 1999 now. Hey, imagine New Year's Eve party 1999, you and 5 friends only. Oh, God.
Mark Denholm.
AtomRadio.co.uk
Realization hit me yesterday that half term is coming up very, very soon. And of course, Halloween as well. Halloween is going to be so ruined for the kids this year though, isn't it? Because, you know, like you want to go out trick-or-treating. But then I don't even know if you can. And even if you do, you're going to go there, you're going to knock on someone's door, and then you're going to have to stand 2 meters apart. Trick or treat. They're going to lob you something from 2 meters away. You'll get to take it home and quarantine it for 72 hours. Where's the fun in that? You know, like imagine. I tell you one thing, right? I've not had someone knock on my door for a couple of years now for trick or treat, right? But then most of them that did knock on my door, trick or treats for the kids, in my opinion, most of them that did knock on my door were not children, way beyond trick or treat age. How annoying.
Mark Denham on Atom Radio.
I made myself a fresh cup of tea and accidentally I have slurped my cup of tea, right? And that reminds me, a friend of mine, absolutely, hang on. You know when you do that? A friend of mine absolutely hates that noise. Genuinely hates that noise. What noises do you make, or do other people make that annoy you? What noises do you make that annoy other people? I tell you what, an ex of mine, sometimes I sit and I shake my leg, and if you've got like certain trousers on, they make a noise, that would annoy her. And I don't really think that's that offensive, but there you go. What noises do you make, or others make, that are annoying?
Mark Denham.
You know, I mentioned this retraining thing, okay? I can't be bothered to do any more questions, but I have sat here and I have done I've done the questionnaire thing. 10 categories you might be suited to: sports and leisure, emergency and uniform services, and managerial. Well, I'm in charge now. I'm okay. If I want to see the other 7 categories I'm suited to, I must send an email. Do you know what? I'll just stay where I am.
Mark Denham on Atom Radio.
Edwin Starr, we made eye-to-eye contact. I was out the other day, and this has just triggered my mind on it now. I was out the other day, and there was people selling energy, I think it was. And the thing is, obviously, with the current coronavirus thing, they can't come within 2 meters of you. Whereas before, they'd step up right in front of you, wouldn't they? Hello, how are you? What are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Now they can't come within 2 meters of you. And the trick of it is, okay, the absolute trick here is just to avoid eye contact. If you avoid eye contact in this day and age, there's nothing they can do really anyway, because all they can do is just like holler at you from 2 meters away. So there's my top tip. If you're out and you see chuggers, avoid eye contact.
Mark Denham on Atom Radio.
All about the 80s on Happy Hour. Have you got your Rubik's Cube? Could you ever do one of those? Do you know what? Like, I even bought a book and I still struggle with it. The problem I had was I lost patience. All of a sudden I'd be like, never mind. And that'd be it. Could you do it? Like, you know, I'm just picturing you now, sat there in your famed leg warmers with your Rubik's Cube. What a view, eh? What a mental picture that is. atomradio.co.uk. Do you own leg warmers? I know some people still do. You know, like these retro nights and that, people do still wear them as well. Like headbands, although to be fair, headbands were probably more late 70s than 80s, weren't they? Although they did still wear them on the tennis court, didn't they? In the 80s, if you remember that. Look back to old tennis players and you'll see them. Like I'm thinking Bjorn Borg, for example. Some people will now be Googling, who the hell is Bjorn Borg? But there you go. Hello to you if you are listening to the podcast and you are an elderly driver as well. I just thought I'd mention that. It's nothing personal. It's just that driving at 15 miles an hour because you're A, selfish and have nothing else to do and assume everyone else does, or because you're B, incapable of driving at a reasonable speed, is not big and it's not clever. So yeah, that's not good. Anyway, that's it. I will be having the week off next week, so I will be back with episode 107 in a couple of weeks' time. And don't forget, you can still listen to the Atom Radio anytime you want online. Have fun.
Atom Radio. Ooh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
atomradio.co.uk, tune in iTunes Radio or smart speaker. All ways you can listen to Atom Radio 24/7. There'll be loads going on next week, and I'll be back in a week.
Atom Radio.